So I have the honor of introducing our guest, Chairman Brenda Carey. Chairman Carey is a self-employed businesswoman, a recognized public servant, a respected business leader, and an esteemed community volunteer. She has been representing District 5 for Seminole County since 2004. She has been chairman of the County Commission now twice, once in 2008 and again beginning in 2011. She has an impressive bio. I'm sure it won't surprise anyone. She represents our county and Central Florida on the Central Florida Commission on Homelessness, the East Central Florida Regional Planning Council, the St. Johns River Alliance, the Wekiva River Basin Commission, and the Florida Association of Counties, among several other regional boards. Personally, she is extremely active with organizations locally and throughout the region, particularly those that benefit women and children. She's also dedicated to Central Florida and Seminole County Boy Scouts. As many of you know, it's Golden Eagle time once again, so you may be receiving a call from her for your involvement. Her husband, Fairley, and Brenda share 5 children, and they have 3 grandchildren, and she is very proud that her grandchild, Dermot, is, I believe, a 5th generation, I should have clarified that with you, Seminole County member of the Carey family. I was trying to think of a personal story to share with you, and I wouldn't say this is really personal, more just interesting to me. As the chamber chair, I help prepare the agenda for our meetings, and it's a page with a dozen bullets. I had the opportunity to see the agenda that our commissioners receive every other week for their meeting. It is a binder that's about 6 inches. It's at least 2, sometimes 4. I've heard rumors of 6. I've heard rumors that they are brought to the commissioners on carts with all the information they need for their biweekly meeting. Chairman Carey reads through each binder, and I know this because it is covered in colorful flags and Post-it notes, and each one is lucky enough to have the name of a county staff member on it. And as she reads through her binders, if she has questions about a particular agenda item, she flags it. And that individual will be receiving a call or a meeting appointment to discuss that agenda item prior to the meeting. So you can only imagine, if you have a minimum of 2 6-inch binders full, how many meetings and phone calls and discussions are required every other week in preparation for this meeting. Chairman Carey is known to be hardworking. She's known to be diligent. She's known to be tenacious, and she's known to be tough. And many of you in this room have done business with her and would agree with me on that. But it is that diligence and that analytical approach that has earned her the respect of her constituents, of Seminole County residents as a whole, and the Seminole County Regional Chamber. Please join me in welcoming to the podium my friend and my county commissioner, Chairman Brenda Carey.
Thank you, Tricia. When you said you were going to tell a personal story, I got a little nervous there, not knowing what you might actually say. But Tricia has been to my home and has seen that agenda that usually greets me when I walk in the door, so she's right. It's a real pleasure to be here this afternoon to present the state of the county. And before I get started, I had a big introduction that I wanted to do about all the elected officials. You know, Frank, you're new here he's from upstate New York by way of Arizona, and now he's finally gotten here to Seminole County, and so he doesn't quite know how we do things in the South. So rather than make Erin all nervous and have her take 5 slides out, I'm going to go ahead with my introduction of our elected officials and talk a little bit about them and give you a little more information about the jurisdictions that they represent. As you know, I'm one of 5 county commissioners, and my colleagues are all here today. And again, I think that they deserve the 3rd round of applause today because we've had a lot of tough work to do in the last couple of years. So I'd like to call their names again. I'd like them to stand and be recognized one more time. Vice Chairman, Commissioner Carlton Henley, Commissioner Dick Vanderweide, and our newest member of the board, Commissioner John Horan. Unfortunately, Commissioner DeLaure could not be with us today. He's been attending the National Association of Regional Conferences and he had to get back to work. The County Commission operates under a charter county form of government, and our primary job as county commissioners is to set policy and approve a budget. And I have to tell you, that's been pretty tough these last couple of years. The county manager's responsibility, though, is to manage the day-to-day operations of the county. He runs 8 departments and 1,322 employees. Joe Forte is our acting manager, and he and his team have done a great job during some very difficult times. So if you're an employee of Seminole County, Joe, would you and your team please stand and be recognized? Let's give them all a warm round of applause. You know, many things that happen at the federal and state level affect us right here in Seminole County, some more so than others. And it's unfortunately, most of our representatives are not here with us today because they're either in Washington or Tallahassee. I did have the pleasure of sitting next to Senator Simmons, who I've known for many years, and we had a chance to talk about our new governor, Rick Scott. And I told David, I said, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how a guy who's been used to being the sole decision maker as a CEO is going to deal with having to have a majority of 160 people to get anything done. So it will be interesting to see how that all works out. But let's give all of our federal and state elected officials a round of applause for all the work they do. As has been stated several times earlier today, we have 5 elected constitutional officers here in Seminole County who serve you. Would like them to stand, and for those who can't see them, we have their pictures up here, and so we just want to make sure that you do know who they are, so if you happen to be sitting next to them, like Tricia said, you could ask David Johnson about your homestead exemption. So let's start with the clerk of the court, Mary Ann Morris, David Johnson, our property appraiser, tax collector Ray Valdez, supervisor of elections Mike Ertel, and the man that keeps us all safe, my friend, Sheriff Don Esslinger. Please stand. Tricia was also right about her comment about my diligence in phone calling folks about events, and we do have the Boy Scout event coming up, and I would add that Sheriff Esslinger is the honoree this year, so I hope to see all of you there on April the 7th. You know, one thing that makes Seminole County unique is our ability to collaborate and partner with our cities and our school board. There are 36 elected representatives who represent the 7 cities here in Seminole County. Because government closest to the people best serves the people, I wanted you to know who they are. So as I call out your city, if you would please stand, remain standing until the end. And we're also going to have identified who the newly elected officials are on our slides. So I'm going to start with our county seat in my hometown since 1957, Sanford. Please stand. Population, 53,816. Altamont Springs. Population, 43,243. Winter Springs, population, 34,340. Oviedo, 32,855. Castleberry, 24,732,000. Lake Mary, 14,559. And Longwood, population 14,300. Let's give all of our city elected officials a round of applause. I wanted to share the population with everybody today because, you know, it's changed a lot over the years. I can remember when Winter Springs was just a very small spot in the road. I can remember when I was a kid, we used to go to Oviedo to watch the Oviedo lights. At least that's what we told our parents. And, you know, it's grown a lot and it's changed a lot. And a lot of people just don't realize how large our cities have become and what a major part of our community they are. Of course, we are known here in Seminole County for our wonderful education system. And I'd like to recognize our school board, who, by the way, is also the largest employer in Seminole County. Please stand and be recognized for all the work we do. Seminole County School Board members. Everywhere you turn today, the discussions are so negative. Unemployment, foreclosure, the Great Recession, the Great Depression. No wonder everybody is so depressed. While we are not exempt from these things here in Seminole County, we have plenty of good things to talk about. So today I'm going to focus on the quality of life issues because that's what really makes us a unique community. I will share with you what we see as the challenges and also the opportunities as we attempt to maintain the quality of life that we have all come to know and love. The first element that comes to mind for me when I think about quality of life is a good infrastructure. There's an old saying that government is judged by whether the potholes get patched and the garbage gets picked up. And that's very true, because I can tell you on the days that the garbage doesn't get picked up, our 5 office phones just start ringing right off the hook. We all choose to live here in Seminole County because of the quality of life. And it didn't just happen, though. It didn't just happen, and the past and present county commissioners are the ones who have had the foresight, really, to make sure that this infrastructure was either in place, being planned, or constructed. The tough part is going to be, how are we going to maintain it during these tough economic times? The first thing that comes to mind when I think of infrastructure is transportation. So let's hear what Commissioner DeLaury has to say about that.
Sometimes an area in our community is so familiar it needs no introductions. Hello, I'm Commissioner Bob DeLaury, and I represent District 1 on the Seminole County Board of County Commissioners. I also have the honor of serving as the chairman of the Metro Plan Orlando Board. In a partnership with elected officials from all corners of the region, this board is charged with the transportation planning of Osceola, Orange, and Seminole County, a true regional effort. Since the first car traveled down I-4 in the early 60s, this interstate had a role in shaping our county and our region. You could say I-4 transformed Seminole County, providing a direct connection from coast to coast and generating an economic development that is still evident half a century later. As we look back, it's easy to see the evolution of transportation in Seminole County. From horse-drawn carriages maneuvering down dirt roads to streetcars, moving passengers from place to place, and automobiles navigating local roads. We've come a long way. The vast network of roads we see today will continue to be an important part of our future transportation system. Another change is now underway. Right now, planning for Sunrail is near completion, with construction scheduled to start this year. Funding for Seminole County's portion has already been allocated. The 61-mile commuter rail system connects 4 counties, including 4 stations right here in Seminole County. As we work in a partnership with the cities of Sanford, Longwood, Lake Marion, and Altamont Springs, our goal is to carefully plan station stops that fit the character of each community and provide the best opportunity for future economic development. But Sunrail is more than a 61-mile rail system. It is the backbone of a future passenger rail network that will offer new transportation choices for a region that is expected to double in population over the next 50 years. When it comes to transportation, this is truly a remarkable time for Seminole County. I look forward to joining you all on the Sunrail inaugural trip when trains begin to roll down the track in 2013. Thank you for the opportunity of serving you and our community on the Board of County Commissioners. Here's to a great year.
In 2010, we undertook 6 new road projects and total cost of $69 million. There are 6 more planned construction projects scheduled to start this year with an estimated cost of $72 million. In just 2 years, we've spent more than $141 million in transportation infrastructure. And I just want you to know that $119 million of that came from your penny sales tax being hard at work. During that same 2-year period, over 12 miles of sidewalk construction were completed. And we are in the planning for additional sidewalk projects for this upcoming year. Total cost of these projects was over $4 million. All of these projects were able to be built, even as property tax revenue declined, again, because of that simple penny. So what is the history of this penny we've talked so much about? In 1991 and again in 2001, the voters of Seminole County approved the local option 1-cent sales tax referendum. That penny has generated over $964 million in 20 years. 1 red cent. Who would have ever believed it could have made such a difference? The first generation of penny sales tax was 100% dedicated to transportation, and it was shared between the cities and the counties. In 2001, when the voters approved it for the second time, it was shared between the cities, the counties, and the school board. Can you imagine what traffic would be like today if the improvements had not been made? Amazing what 1 red cent did to make a difference in transportation. Because this penny will sunset at the end of this year, your county commissioners will have to decide the future of the penny. Because I'm not the only facts and figures commissioner on the board, after much discussion at our first budget workshop last week, we've asked our staff to work with the cities and the school board to define the needs and to bring that information back to us for further consideration and deliberation at the county commission level. So despite what you may have seen and heard, that decision hasn't been made yet. We expect to discuss it again in late May, early June timeframe, and at that time, we will have to decide, do we ask the voters of Seminole County to support the penny again, or do we let it sunset? Our voters played an important role in another aspect of county's infrastructure, our natural lands and trails. In 1990, voters approved the first natural lands referendum, which raised $20 million for natural land acquisitions. A second referendum was approved in 2000, which raised another $25 million. It was dedicated to natural lands, trails, greenways, and blueways. As a result, the county currently has over 37 paved miles of trails, over 6,600 acres of wilderness areas, and I know that a lot of you have been out there and enjoyed our trails and our wilderness areas, and those are continuing to be improved. The most notable of these currently that you may have seen under construction is our tunnel that's going under Lake Mary Boulevard that connects our Cross Seminole or our Wekiva Trail. The completion of that will be done in September of 2012. Stormwater is another thing that comes to mind when I think of infrastructure. However, it doesn't usually come to mind for the residents until the rains begin, the roads flood, the lakes start to rise, and their backyards go underwater. In 2010, we completed 3 stormwater projects, and we'll complete 3 more this year at a total cost of over $5.5 million. Seminole County also operates over 18 plants for the treatment of water and wastewater. Last year, we provided 6.3 billion gallons of water to our citizens and transmitted over 1.8 billion gallons of water to the Iron Bridge facility, which is a joint collaboration between the City of Orlando and this region. We are also in the process of retrofitting both our wastewater facilities, Greenwood Lakes and Yankee Lake, to provide for additional reclaimed water. We recently completed 2 major reclaim projects in 6 subdivisions in the northwest corridor of the county. It is estimated that those targeted neighborhoods used as much as 1 million gallons of potable water, that's your drinking water, per day to irrigate. That's enough water to fill 67 swimming pools a day. So now that we've conserved all that water by putting them on reclaim, we are in the process of upgrading 4 of our largest water plants. These improvements will provide advanced water treatment technologies to ensure that we can continue to provide high-quality water to our citizens. Also meet our upcoming water regulation demands and the rules and regulations coming out of the water management districts. The goal of our project, known as C-2012, is to deliver affordable water and wastewater infrastructure programs for our citizens by implementing timely and cost-effective programs. And I have to say that CH2M Hill, who's here with us today, has done a great job working with our staff to make sure that we stay on task. We have been planning for future water in this region for many years. Not only water for Seminole County, but water for our local and regional partners. A few years ago, the St. John's Water Management District said, go to the river, and they gave us a $7.5 million grant to do so. So today, a $48 million Yankee Lake surface water treatment plant is under construction and will ultimately take water from the St. Johns River, treat it, and we will be replacing groundwater use for irrigation by augmenting our program with that river water. This project is scheduled to be complete by March of 2012. When we talk about safety today, it means more than just locking up the criminals. Our citizens want protection from epidemics, natural disasters, and terrorists. In an effort to prepare Seminole County for any hazard, we have conducted numerous hurricane, tornado, medical, and homeland security exercises in 2010. In addition, we gave one of our busiest fire stations, Station 12, a facelift this year, $700,000 facelift. Boy, we'd have a lot of facelifts done with that, couldn't we? At our fire training center, we provided a number of courses to our first responders, including continuing and advanced education, the handling of hazardous materials, elevated rescue techniques for all the tall buildings that are being built in our community today, vehicle extrication training, and various EMS classes for our partners in Seminole County's 362 firefighters. Let's give our firefighters a round of applause. In addition, we launched our first self-registration portal for our reverse 911 system. Many folks have gone to cell phones or internet phones, and as a result, we have a difficult time obtaining phone numbers for people who want to receive emergency notices. So you can go to our website at prepareseminole.com and register yourself, especially if you have a cell phone or internet service at home. That's particularly important. This year has also been a very difficult year for many of our citizens. We saw a 20% increase in requests for services over last year. Our community assistance team met with over 3,500 citizens who were experiencing financial hardship. The assistance they provided helped prevent homelessness, loss of utilities, and other critical services such as dental, vision, hospital care, and even burial. We provided approximately $500,000 in assistance to homeless families with children through partnerships with CBC of Seminole and the Jewish Family Services Group. We received and distributed over $10 million in federal funding, which went for down payment assistance, home rehabilitation, foreclosure prevention, and senior housing. In addition, our veteran services saw an increase this year of over 50% over last year. And our folks were able to help over 2,700 veterans, those who served for this country, now coming back to us in need of time. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office is also a very important partner in our community, and they are very committed to their mission. Through collaboration and partnerships with the municipal law enforcement agencies, citizens, businesses, and other governmental agencies, we have experienced yet another decrease in crime in 2010. That deserves a round of applause. Overall, we had a 5.5% reduction in Part 1 crimes, and we had notable reductions in robberies, motor vehicle thefts, aggravated assault, and burglaries. The most significant thing that the Sheriff's Office can do about crime is to prevent it from occurring in the first place. As a result, crime prevention continues to be the premise of all of the overall policing strategies. Deputies are continuing to work in their own neighborhoods. They have a clear understanding of the needs and the expectations of their neighbors. In addition, that has reduced commute times, saved on vehicle maintenance and fuel, and it allows the deputies to work on sustainable initiatives in their own neighborhoods. Last year, the Sheriff's Office opened a state-of-the-art inmate booking facility and the direct supervision housing units, also known as the jail. These enhancements will create greater opportunity to expedite the booking process, alleviate concerns of overcrowding, and provide those incarcerated with the necessary tools to effectively reintegrate back into our neighborhoods. And as always, our sheriff and his team committed to providing the highest level of service. Thank you, Sheriff. Our success for creating jobs and for training our workforce can be attributed to our excellent school systems. not just K through 12, but also our higher education opportunities. As you can see from this next slide, we have a lot of A's, and that is an impressive report card. Not only that, but 10 athletic teams in 8 different sports were recognized by the Florida Athletic Association as sport academic champions, and our high school bands were rated superior by the Florida Bandmaster Association. A few interesting facts about our students in the Seminole County Public Schools. We have over 64,000 students, and 1,600 of those students attend from over 133 different countries. And here's a statistic you probably never imagined. We have more than 1,450 students that are homeless. And 42% of our students are on free and reduced lunch, which is the largest percentage that we have ever seen. The good news is that the 11 school projects that were identified in the 2001 sales tax initiative have been completed. The 2 most recently completed projects were Oviedo High School and Redbug Elementary. The cost of those 11 projects was approximately $145 million, and these would not have been possible without the quarter of a penny sales tax revenue that the school board received as part of the penny sales tax. But K through 12 is not our only success story. Nearly 4 out of every 10 Seminole County public students who graduate are enrolled at Seminole State College, with contributed to our record enrollment this year. And their Direct Connect program to UCF is growing exponentially every year. What a great partnership, and what a vision that Dr. McGee and Dr. Hitt had to make that connection. Seminole State not only impacts higher education, but they also impact how our local economy grows. Over $80 million of annual operating budget, $90 million awarded to students this year in financial aid, circulated back into our local economy through such items as payroll, purchase of goods and services, rent, and groceries. In addition, Seminole State just completed a $183 million construction project, and that certainly helped our construction industry. They have grown and evolved as our community has grown. As you know, managing the growth can also be a challenge. So let's hear what Commissioner Horan has to say on that subject.
Most people are surprised to learn that Seminole County is the 3rd most densely populated county in the state of Florida. Consequently, in Seminole County, growth management means both the sensible development of our urban areas and the protection and preservation of our natural lands and rural heritage. 2 separate rural protection areas are identified in the Seminole County Comprehensive Plan: the Wekiva River Protection Area and the Eastern Rural Area. These areas enjoy special protections in our land use and zoning codes and our charter. Over the years, we have purchased thousands of acres of natural lands which are managed exclusively for passive recreational uses. Seminole County has over 70 miles of paved or unpaved trails open for use within the county. They include the Seminole Wekiva Trail, the Cross Seminole Trail, the Flagler Trail, the Florida Natural Scenic Trail, and also trails within the county's parks and natural lands. The county plan identifies a variety of innovative urban growth land use designations and special purpose areas. These are used to encourage and guide the creation of energy-efficient, job-generating development in our urban and special targeted areas like Seminole Way, the 1792 corridor, and the dense urban land area within our urban core. In 2010, the county implemented new mobility strategies by adopting an energy conservation overlay, known as ECO, to promote the greater use of public transportation, bicycles, and walking as our county evolves in the coming years from a collection of bedroom communities into a self-sustaining critical mass of mixed uses. Whether we grow fast or slow or something in between, Seminole County is implementing plans and strategies that will continue to make this a great place to live and work and visit.
As Commissioner Horan mentioned, 1792, our CRA is meeting the challenges of today and creating opportunities for tomorrow, while continuing to expand the economic opportunities for the county and our partners, cities of Castleberry, Lake Mary, Winter Springs, and Sanford. Last year, there were 14 projects approved that resulted in a capital investment of over $3 million. The CRA also offers development and mini grants to assist private owners with redevelopment opportunities. So if you're looking for some land, we'd love to have you look at the 1792 corridor. And we are looking for a few good developers. That will be the focus of our redevelopment opportunities here in the near future. You know, we are no longer just a bedroom community to Orange County and Orlando. Our economic development program was initiated in 1993. The goals were to strengthen and recession-proof Seminole County's economy through business diversification, to attract high-wage paying jobs, and to expand our non-residential tax base. 2010 was a successful year for economic growth and partnership building. Through important business relationships, the county established 7 expansion projects or relocation projects, which created over 1,150 new jobs, with an average wage of almost $50,000. In addition, more than $15 million was spent in capital investment. This year, our economic development team is off to a good start, with opportunities including 2 new customer service centers, a new software company, and 5 manufacturing businesses. Most importantly, the county has provided an economic development task force which met for the first time in January. This task force is developing a plan to create additional job growth. They should be completed with that in spring of this year, and in fact, some of you in this room serve on that committee. I ran into Tom Green when I was coming in, and he said he was late. He wasn't here in time for the earlier activities because he happened to be at that meeting. So thank you all who are serving on that task force. We're looking forward to your exciting report. And I'm sure you've heard the buzz about Sematech, a photovoltaic solar manufacturing consortium. This is a joint economic development project with the state, UCF, Metro Orlando EDC, the county, Winter Springs, and many other partners across the region. They have applied for a $100 million Department of Energy grant. We hope to know the results of that by the first week of March. But if awarded, this project will jumpstart science and simulation research and manufacturing along the Seminole Way corridor. It will also provide new construction, investment in equipment, and new jobs in the manufacturing and research and development sectors. It is estimated that it will create over 225 new jobs and generate over $418 million of gross domestic product or sales during the first 10-year period. Another huge economic driver is the Orlando Sanford International Airport. It's still tough for me to call it Orlando Sanford, having lived my whole life here in Sanford. But they generate almost $2.5 billion annually in economic activity for the region, and they provide over 18,000 jobs either directly or indirectly. The airport continues to expand both domestic and international service and currently provides flights to over 36 domestic and 17 international destinations. This month, we were so excited to welcome back all of the Allegiant Air flights to Orlando Sanford, and I just want to thank you all who reached out and told the executives at Allegiant that we wanted our flights coming out of Orlando Sanford International, not Orlando International. Thank you. We also look forward to welcoming Vision Airlines, Iceland Express, and Archifly, all due to land during the spring and summer of this year. In addition, in 2010, the airport received the FAA Award Safety Mark of Distinction Award, and Airport President Larry Dale also received the Florida Department of Transportation 2010 Aviation Professional of the Year. Now, I'm really disappointed that Larry wasn't here today, but you might have seen him recently on the national news. Not what you were thinking for. But he decided to speak out on the TSA issue, and I'm sure we'll be hearing more about that in the near future. So what does all of this mean to us? We are a great place to visit and do business. With the county's median household income at almost $59,000 and the average household income for 2010 at over $80,000, we have the 4th highest median income out of Florida's 67 counties. By being fiscally conservative and streamlining our operations, we have created a firm foundation. In addition to our financial planning, the Growth Management Department is currently looking at ways to streamline their process in planning and permitting. As a business person, you know time is money. Our total operating and capital budget is just over $1 billion. Now that sounds like a lot of money, and it is. But did you know that only $240 million of that represents funding for our core government services? The challenge that we have has been facing the declining property values. In 2005 and 6, we had a real estate market that saw great increases, over 30%. By 2007, a slowing economy and the beginning of the Great Recession caused a decline in the real estate values. By the end of 2008, conditions dramatically worsened. As a result of the global market crisis causing a downward spiral in the real estate market that has continued through 2010. On the residential front, which represents about 68% of our property tax base, 1 in every 130 homes received a notice of foreclosure. Now think about that. During October 2010. That's about 10% of the residents in Seminole County. And approximately 62% of the sales that occurred were either short sales or foreclosures. In the non-residential market, which represents the other 32% of our tax base, we are seeing declines in 2010 like never before. And in fact, David Johnson has told us that those declines will range from 10 to 40%. That is staggering. And so when your revenue streams comes based on property values, all of us in local government are having to face some pretty tough times. Another challenge we have is staying ahead of those resources is the rapidly worsening of the recession. I know that all of you business owners are seeing it as well, regardless of what your business is. But overall, Seminole County experienced $63 million decline just in general revenue funds, resulting from 30% decline in property tax values through 2009, a 30% decline in sales tax, 8% decline in gas tax, and a 20% decline in other fees and operating expenses. Proactive planning has been key to Seminole County's success in maintaining a strong financial position. Since 2007, the county has continuously focused on streamlining operations and reducing program cost. The annual operating budget for core government services has been reduced by $53 million. In addition, $17 million in capital projects were canceled. And we use those funds to increase our reserve levels for emergencies and economic stabilization. Reducing costs and streamlining operations has allowed the county to stabilize while continuing to provide a high-quality service to our citizens and to preserve the quality of life that we all enjoy here. The Board of County Commissioners continually looks to the future by employing financial planning processes that access long-term implications. As we look forward, we will continue to face challenges. For example, we know that revenue streams have not stabilized yet, and we expect another $12 to $15 million reduction in general revenues this year. We know that operating expenditures will not be sustainable in the next 3 to 5 years. The unknown is what future policy decisions made by other government levels will impact us financially. Today, we have about $18 million of unfunded mandates that have been passed down to local government from the state level. So as you can see, planning for the future will continue to be a key to ensuring our ongoing financial health here in Seminole County. A key indicator of a county's financial health is its bond rating. And I'm pleased to say that Seminole County remains an elite group of 6 counties who hold the highest credit rating in Florida. Earlier last year, Commissioner DeLauria and I had an opportunity to go and sit before Standard & Poor's and Moody and talk about our credit rating. And those agencies look at many factors when they're assessing our credit worthiness. And those include the county's dedication to proactive financial planning, which has been evidenced by our commitment to financial practices that maintain financial health. They also look at our ability to adequately fund our reserves. And one of the biggest things we heard from them was that the county's ability to cash finance capital projects was one of the main reasons that resulted in us being reaffirmed with a AA rating. So that 20 years of the penny sales tax in Seminole County allowed us to be able to cash finance things. As a result, we maintained our rating, and a lot of people said, well, what does that mean to you? Well, it means that we can borrow money at a lower interest cost. And I will tell you, and Senator Simmons could probably tell you too, that a lot of the jurisdictions in the 67 counties in Florida have been written down on their credit rating in the last 2 years, some very significantly, and they can do nothing today. They're at their 10 mil cap for property taxes. They can't borrow any money. The cost of borrowing money is extremely high, and we don't ever want to end up in that place here in Seminole County. The good news is we're still one of the best values. This chart reflects the combined millage rate from all jurisdictions paid by unincorporated property owners. As you can see, Seminole County continues to maintain the lowest tax rate when compared to our neighboring Central Florida counties. We are doing everything that we can to be prepared for the future. We will continue to have one of the most desirable places to live, work, and play. I want this to continue to be a great place to live, not only for my children and grandchildren, but for yours. And as Tricia said earlier, yes, my grandson Dermot is the 5th generation of my family to live here in Seminole County. I just hope that future generations can afford to stay here. Thank you for joining us today and for choosing to invest in Seminole County. Have a great weekend. God bless.